Continue with the discussion that we had just before the break. This weekend, reports emerged of President Cyril Ramaphosa's CR17 campaign for the ANC presidency and the campaign's alleged funders. They include the Oppenheimer family and former Absa chief executive member Maria Ramos. The reports also suggest that the president knew more about the funding campaign than initially believed. Let's get more reaction to this. We are joined on the line by the ANC's head of the presidency, Sibongile Besani. Good to have you, Sibongile. Thanks so much for talking to us.
Good morning, and good morning to your listeners.
Let's get the ANC's reaction to the latest leaked information regarding President Ramaphosa's funders for the ANC presidential campaign.
Well, the issue here is indeed there are comrades, members of the ANC, who came together and felt that they should campaign for President Cyril Ramaphosa to be president of the ANC. And in that context, they were able to initiate their own process of fundraising so that they can hold meetings, they can book accommodation, they can make some research and so on. And close to about 120 people have done so. And most of these people are black people, it's not white. Even the president himself has made a donation from his own personal funds. So, indeed, the ANC today operates under a different political environment. Generally, the ANC has always discouraged, this is an ANC matter, has always discouraged this kind of campaigns and so on. But the circumstances have actually changed. I remember even in 2015, one of the candidates of the Youth League presidency, comrade Ronald Lamola, made a call that, look, the environment has changed and we're campaigning openly. We know the ANC would not encourage this kind of campaign, but people also fundraise for this kind of campaign. Let us ensure that we open up this kind of a political space so that these things, when they come into the public, they are not perceived as things that are unethical and illegal. So, with regards to President Cyril Ramaphosa, comrades took this kind of an initiative and they campaigned for President Cyril Ramaphosa, and there were people who actually came on board, about 120 of them, and who made these kind of donations on confidential basis without any expectation, except that they believe that under the stewardship of Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa, the ANC will be on a better trajectory.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's look at this, because the reality is that the president is on record as saying that he didn't really know much about the funding campaign, but leaked emails are showing that he was very much so integral to the funding of his campaign and knew exactly what was being donated by whom. In fact, he himself also donated towards the campaign.
Look, it does not mean what President has always insisted on is that even the people, comrades who were campaigning for him, they've always put one story and consistently that, look, in this regard, we've asked the president not to operationally get involved in this thing and so on. Even if they would invite him to a gala dinner for fundraising, president would not even interact with people or prospective donors or, funders and so on. So, president has consistently said, look, I was not part of the operations of this campaign, and therefore I was not privy to these details and so on. So the issue here is that the president has not said I'm part. He has not said he's operationally involved in the campaign. He was not, and I think the emails do not say he was involved on every matter, and that is the story, and that is the narrative that South Africans have got to understand.
Yeah, it's difficult as well when we look at some of the donors, however, and we look at some of. I think the big issue that people are worried about is that with the large sums of money that are being donated or were donated to the campaign, that this will be, in lieu of getting business. And many of these people that have been named that we saw yesterday in the newspapers, their names are there, their photographs are there, and they do get huge amounts of business from government. I mean, it's very, very hard to dispute that these funders are benefiting from the president being president.
No, look, I think it would be unfair to suggest that because they supported the campaign, and it's not about supporting the president personally, it's about supporting comrades who campaigned for ascendancy of President Cyril Ramaphosa. So it would be unfair to draw a conclusion that they get money because they supported that. That would be unfair to get straight directly to that conclusion. But the concern is something that you can't dismiss. The concern is legit. You know that, look, if this is what happened, that concern is legitimate. But I think President Cyril Ramaphosa has got to be judged on what he has done so far and how he has conducted himself. In fact, since his ascendancy, the fight against corruption has escalated to a point that even when issues affect him, he has been quite open to say, let's talk about these issues. Let's make sure what legal processes are underway to ensure that whatever matter has got to be settled properly and legally.
Yeah. Can we confirm, can you confirm to us that those names and the numbers that were released yesterday in the newspaper are in fact true?
Look, I don't want to really lie. I can't confirm the figures, but I know that more than about 120 people have actually made those donations, and to that effect, even President donated his own personal money, to the campaign. So, in that sense, we want to assure South Africans that, in as much as they have these concerns, but President Cyril Ramaphosa has been open about the matter. What the president has done to challenge the leak today to the leak of this statement is that we need to make sure that everything that is put in the public discourse about third parties is not done unlawfully. It is important that as we embrace the principle of transparency, the principle of accountability, we make sure that those who've got resources by virtue of holding positions in government use those resources lawfully. So President is not trying to hide anything. Instead, what he's trying to do is to ensure that whatever people disclose publicly, or if people access private information, they must disclose it publicly and they must obtain it legally.
So will the president be making a statement on this? I mean, is he going to come clean, be transparent, and put this issue to rest? Because I think that's what people are worrying about right now, is that we're coming from a time where we have state capture commissions taking place, where we saw the country almost being sold to the highest bidder, and it seems like this is happening all over again. So the talk of transparency, the talk of these funders, the talk of getting all of these things done, it seems that the ANC is more worried about the public protector and how she obtained the information than what is actually contained in this. So is this transparency going to come to the fore? Are we finally going to get a closure to all of this?
In fact, it is already coming to the fore. All that is at play now is that President is ensuring that if information is put in the public domain, it is information that has been obtained legally. Because the ANC has got a long-standing concern that sometimes state institutions can be used to settle differences. So already the president is ensuring that if he's got a different view on how Chapter 9 handle a matter, he goes to court. Because the president respects Chapter 9 and he feels that they must be defended. Okay. However, it is important that in our endeavor to ensure accountability, to ensure transparency, we've got to do so legally. All
right. We leave it there, but we do thank you very, very much for talking to us, giving us the presidency and the ANC side on all of this, and talking to us. We had on the line the ANC's head of presidency, Sibongile Besani. Thank you very, very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's take a break here on the program. Sports news after this. Do stay tuned.